Previously, on the Horde of the Dragon Queen. The north of Faerun finds itself embroiled in chaos, as the long benign cult of the dragon has recently made a resurgence and is actively pillaging nearby lands at the behest of Seven Sajarin, who is attempting to gather 5 dragon masks to release Tiamat from her prison in the Nine Hells. Meanwhile, 4 novice adventurers journey to the town of Greenest as caravan guards for the belligerent Nub McGrub. During said journey, they came to know Nub's bodyguard, Sebastian Crenshaw, and the reserved Marlowe Duskwood, who did their best to make the group feel welcome, despite Nub's foul temperament and overt self-interest. When the party reached their destination, they were greeted by the sight of a blue dragon that circled ominously over the town. Sensing the plight below, the party ventured further in, and soon arrived at Greenest Keep, where they became acquainted with Governor Naito and Castilian. From here, the party proceeded to work through the night, and saved many townspeople, whilst also driving back the nefarious raiders, which eventually culminated in a stand at the keep, and an ultimatum posed by the battle-hungry Langdrosa Cyanrath. Zark answered the Draconid's challenge for single combat, and fought a pitched battle, with the former eventually prevailing thanks to the awakening of a mysterious new power. The raiders retreated after the battle, and the party were rewarded for their efforts. After spending a few days of rest, the party were besieged by Nessun Wildra to find his friend Leosin Elenfar, who was captured by the raiders during the attack on Greenest. When the party arrived at the camp, Arthur attempted to get a better look through the brush, but was soon spotted by a nearby guard tower. After initially trying to pass themselves off as cultists, the party's ruse fell apart upon Zarg being recognised as the one who defeated Langdrosa. A huge conflict ensued, and the heroes fought bravely, but were eventually captured with the exception of Gwen, who managed to slip away, but now has the fate of her comrades resting on her shoulders. And now we return as the Tyranny of Dragons continues. Okay, welcome back, one and all, to Horde of the Dragon Queen. So, been a couple of weeks, hasn't it, since our last session?
Yeah.
The stars just haven't aligned for D&D. We were going to do a one-shot, I think, last week and the week before. I think one week D&D Beyond went down, the other week, like, enough of us just weren't around, unfortunately. But, we are back. So, yeah, I suppose we'll just get right into it. So, as I said in the intro, you guys were captured, apart from Gwen. And I'm going to say that at the end of the last session, Delman was considering casting Misty Step, but ultimately thought better of it. So at this point, you've all been bound and gagged, and the guy who told you to surrender has basically stood you guys up. This includes, just to clarify, this also includes Max and I keep forgetting your Robert. I keep forgetting because it's so stupid. Robert and Max have also been sort of tied up in a similar fashion. So, as the fog cloud disperses over the camp, I'm actually going to reveal what the rest of the camp looks like for you guys now, just because it'll all be visible to you. Me and obviously Gwen will have seen the camp herself. Oops, I did not mean to do that.
Yeah. That's what
Yay, okay, let's reveal everything.
Bye.
Oh, jeez.
There you go.
Hug says as he deletes everything.
Yeah, that would be quite likely something to No. Okay. So
Is that all? We could have taken him.
yeah,
agree.
have you seen how many tents there are? They could have all been clown cars for you now.
Plus his caves.
I mean, to be fair, most of the stuff came out of caves.
Would have been fine.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
my line.
So, also, I'm going to say at this point that you guys obviously have been disarmed, considering that you've been tied up. I'm also I'm going to say,
Is there something I can do while that's happening?
if you want to do something specific, I'm just stating what's happening at this current moment. I would say that, considering that you took a little bit of time to evade them and get into the bush, I would say that they've been disarmed and tied up in the time that you were trying to get away. So you're probably able to act at the point where they're having their stuff confiscated from them. Your armor hasn't been taken from you, but your weapons are currently being taken from you. So, did you want to do anything specific, Gwen?
Yes, I would like to move up back behind the guys that we slew outside. So, like, I'm coming up the way towards the camp, towards them.
Could you just
Move
specify
on that side from them.
so which
We came
direction
from
you?
the- I can move my token to the corner where we entered this map from,
Yes.
like, and be on that side of the guys we slew outside.
So, are you saying that you're going to be moving to about here? Kind of like up to the right. Or so more that way. Okay.
That was me. I don't know if that's actually where Pema wants to move.
There, sorry, the map was moving around funky.
Okay.
So right by the figures, and actually going to kneel down by
Okay. So you're just kneeling
the dragon claw.
by the boy. Okay. Are you
And looking at him?
okay? Are you trying to discern anything specific?
No, I'm going to pretend being very upset about him being there.
Okay. So are you trying to
I'm starting to set up a ruse, basically.
Are you trying to draw attention towards you then?
No, more like quiet crying.
Quiet crying. Okay.
Just go, if someone sees me,
I see. Okay, so if they were to
they
kind
don't
of go,
take me as an attacker.
I see. Okay.
More like someone who came up onto.
Yeah, you're
and
kind of like a
shuffle my hair a little.
You're kind of like a
Like I
civilian,
came
or
behind. No, I'm still wearing the robe.
oh, okay.
Not
So
completely
oh yeah,
wearing-
because you only took the headdress off, didn't you?
Exactly. I'm
Yeah,
still
that's
wearing
right.
the robe, but like I came behind and I see a fellow cult member on the ground dead, and I'm sitting there crying.
Okay. I would say that for the moment, no one is moving towards you. I think the spectacle of what was going on in the camp has everyone's attention quite firmly fixed on these guys. I would say from where you're standing, you can quite clearly hear a mixture of jeering and cheering as the party in the camp are being captured and detained. Did you want to do anything else, Gwen, or are you just kind of putting yourself in that position in case someone does come that way?
Putting myself in that position.
Okay, I see.
Sitting up.
Right, okay. So, you guys continue to be, well, detained. I'm going to say, do you guys have, like, because your equipment, I assume, is going to be in your backpacks, aren't they?
If a guy tries to put a muzzle around, or something to gag me,
He
I
is trying.
bite his hand.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I did.
bite his hand.
Okay, roll to hit.
Just a regular D20 or unarmed strike. Whatever.
I'm going to say an on strike, actually.
Um, 20.
Early 20.
Okay.
None of
so
that 20, don't worry.
okay, so you do definitely hit with that. Okay, a 6. Okay, so I'm going to take that as like slashing damage. Oh, sorry, no, piercing damage actually for
Okay.
the. I don't know why I thought slashing could be because teeth,
I can follow the train of thought.
and then I corrected myself. Fortunately, okay. So I want to specify that you just attacked this veteran dude who told you to stand down, and you bit him. So in response, he goes to gag you. You bring your hand down on his mouth. You kind of like catch his pinky. So, not a nice thing to do.
Mhm.
So, for that, he is going to retaliate by. I'm just trying to. I think this would probably be bludgeoning. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
He's-
so I couldn't take being gagged lightly.
Yeah, he's going to He's going to attack you with the longsword for that.
Okay. Yeah, that does hit.
17 hit. Okay, so I'm going to specify that he isn't slashing, he's going to do bludgeoning, so I'm going to probably say that he's only trying to deter you, so I would say that I'm just basically not going to have the +3, so he'll just do 2 damage to you, which coincidentally is actually the last of your temporary hit points.
Oh.
So,
Pistol whipped
yeah,
with a sword.
yeah, essentially that's what just happened. Okay, so this guy will recoil in pain, and he'll just, like, after sword, he'll then put the longsword to your throat, Zach, and he just goes, "Try that again, and I will cut your fucking throat."
Doc. Stop playing it. Just take the gag.
This guy will hold eye contact with you, holding the sword to your throat, and he'll actually motion one of the other cultists to put the gag around you, Zach.
I'll just glare menacingly at him. Mm.
Okay, so yeah, I'd say that you're all gagged now. I'm also going to say at this point that other cultists come to take your backpacks, and they kind of like hoist them over their shoulders, and they kind of walk. You start getting marched through the camp, like in a sort of procession. The guys carrying your stuff are kind of like stood, like I'm going to say like 2 abreast on each side, and they're just keeping a wide berth from you just in case you try to either tackle them or do anything else. So I'm actually going to take this up as an opportunity just to describe their camp a little bit better, even though you can obviously see it on the map, but just to specify a couple of things that might not be immediately apparent. So obviously you can see the guard tower that's at the side of you here, and there's a second guard tower. I'd say, can't remember exactly how far away this is. It's like the guard tower just over on, yeah, about 160 feet away, thank you for that, from your current position, which kind of like looks over that part of the camp. These tents towards this side of the camp are quite poorly maintained. Like, you can probably tell just because of the kobolds here that this is their accommodations, and they're kind of like decorated with animal skulls, like with stag, bear, and boars. You can kind of see that the tents very inside, these up here, of better quality. You can obviously also see that there are various like patches of this thicket surrounding the camp. Also, I'd say that you spot all of the caves that you can see here. Some of them are blocked up by boulders. Others are open. You don't really know where they lead or if they connect to one another. You also notice that on the sides here, like on this basin, that you can kind of see like foot and handholds on the wall as you walk. They're quite conspicuous. You don't know whether the cult may have put these in to get to high ground, or whether they are just here naturally. Do you guys have any other questions about the space, or want to observe anything while you're being marched through it?
The humans that are around. Actually, no. Does it seem like basically there's anyone that's there against their will? Not specifically the humans, just anyone in general.
I would probably say roll insight for that.
Okey-dokey.
Unfortunately, as you look around, people, they don't really look. The problem you've got at the moment is because you just caused such a big scene, everyone's giving you a stink eye. So because kind of from their perspective, if they were prisoners, you've just made life potentially a lot harder for them because you put their captors in a bad mood. Or conversely, these are all cultists, and they don't really know what you've done yet, but obviously it may or may come to light later, but for now you're just intruders. You can't really tell the difference at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, do you guys want to do anything else?
Nah.
Okay, so I would say that as you guys are being marched, you're going to be marched towards this tent over here. So I'm going to say at this point, I'm going to switch over to Gwen's perspective. So, Gwen, over the last few minutes, you kind of heard this really short exchange where you heard someone kind of shriek out in pain, and then you could hear someone being hit with a blunt object. And then, sort of like people. Like they just started marching away, and you could kind of like, I'd say that this crowd here is kind of following you guys as you're being marched through the camp. So, Gwen, you can quite conspicuously hear that the mass of people that were around the front of the camp have now probably moved. I mean, obviously, you can't tell specifically, but they've moved further
Moved
away from
away.
you. Yeah. So, I'd say that you get the impression that there's no immediate danger to you being discovered.
But I don't know if
I mean,
someone was sent up to the
well, I
guards
mean,
or
you don't
anything.
know that specifically.
For right now, I'm staying where I am, like just looking like I'm an exhausted puddle next to the farm.
Okay. I would say at this point, make a perception check. Okay. On a 14, you're kind of going through this whole malark of, sort of sitting, well, crouching over this cultist and crying. As you do so, you kind of just get the impression that something's watching you, but not from the camp. It feels like for the last few minutes, every so often, you kind of just get this impression that you're being watched, but it feels like it's kind of like they're kind of like skulking on your peripheral vision. So I'd say that you turn your head to the left, and more or less back from where you came from, you see another orc. But this one doesn't appear to be. He isn't kind of holding himself aggressively. He looks to be a teenager, or what you would roughly consider to be a teenager, Mongonork. And as you make eye contact with him, he instinctively looks away, and he kind of steps back a little bit. Do you react
For
anyway?
reference, Orc's only just not a teenager.
Yeah, I do consider that, but you're a half orc though, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please, don't hurt me, please, please.
Okay.
I'm just cowering.
He approaches you slowly, and he kind of like reaches out.
Cowering even more into myself, like slightly moving back, but mostly making myself like really small, tiny ball.
Yeah, so you kind of like projecting vulnerability. So he just comes up to you and says, you see Liar and Grumph. Come now, please.
Who are you?
Oh, me, he seems to be very unsure. This might be the first time he's ever had contact with a human before. He kind of just, he actually thinks for a moment for some reason. He just is really unsure what to say to you, but yeah. You get the joke that I'm going for here. But no, after a few moments, he just goes, I be, Roslek. And he just kind of stands there looking down at you, not really seeming overly concerned about the cultist. He just kind of like looks at you awkwardly, not really knowing how to react or do a decision. You get the impression very much that he isn't comfortable in the situation or really knows what to do.
So he's very much in a stance that he's trying not to be
No,
intimidating, right?
I mean, if you want to roll insight to kind of get a little bit more.
No, just the impression I would get, like,
Yeah, I mean,
he's not menacing right now.
No.
He's trying to get me to follow him, but not in a menacing way. That's
No.
the way I understood you saying.
yes, yeah,
I
basically.
can roll insight later, but yes, I would like to roll insight. I would like to see how much
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think he is trying to lure me away. But
Yeah.
the first I wanted just the first impression you were trying to give me.
Yeah, the first impression is that he appears awkward but otherwise harmless.
Okay, and I would like to
Yeah, go ahead.
decide that.
Okay, on a 10, you haven't really dealt with many orcs. I mean, other than Zark, but there isn't anything to suggest that he kind of means you any harm. I think you can't really tell whether the awkwardness is because he doesn't really know how to speak to you specifically, or whether he might be there might be something else in his mind, but you're not sure. So at this point, he hasn't moved. He hasn't made any advances on you. He doesn't appear to be brandishing any weapons. He just seems to be very nervous.
You know, safe place.
Yes. Back in Pass. I take you to Lyre.
Oh, okay. And I'll get up, but
Yeah, he actually
move towards him, but in a way that I'm still keeping distance.
he actually extends his hand down to you, and kind of like offers to help you up.
So trying not to get too close to him, but
Yeah, but that's what he's doing. So, are you just kind of going to stand up of your own accord?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm still a little scuttled away, getting up.
Yeah. So he extends his hand out to you. He sees you stand up. He kind of recoils his arm back slowly, as if "What should I have not have done?" And then he kind of just starts. He just kind of like motions his arm back towards the pass and just goes, "Please, quickly, this way." Okay.
And with that, I'm following him.
Okay, so you follow him. So we're going to cut back to the others now for a couple of minutes. So, as you guys go through the camp, as I mentioned, like obviously you saw all this stuff before, people, as you've been going through, have just generally been cheering the efforts of like the honor guard, and a couple of people are throwing food at you. And I would say when you guys get to about here, a couple of the cultists drag Max and Robert away from you guys, and they start heading down. I'd say, yeah, they're going to head up towards this cave here, and they're going to go in there.
Which cave was that?
Sorry, top right.
East one.
Yeah,
Okay.
that one.
Or
Okay.
northeast one, I should have said.
So they've been led away, and you guys are brought inside of this tent here. So, as you guys get into the tent, you're presented before a woman that you've actually seen before. You saw her back at Greenest. She's a woman I'd probably say about 5 foot. Yeah, I'd say about 5'4". She has cropped black hair, and she's wearing a purple robe. And she appears to be talking to a couple of other cultists. You can't. She's kind of like keeping her voice down a little bit, as if not to want to draw much attention to it. And they bow and leave as you guys enter. And
Aside, is it Lady Resmia?
this lady that you're seeing here,
Yes.
this is Mondath,
I know it's-
which she is actually going to tell you in just a moment.
Okay.
So, You guys are brought down. The guy who was escorting you kind of just pushes you to the ground, so you guys are on your knees. The
I'm
guy.
still taller than her.
What? Sorry.
I bet I'm still taller than her.
She's like 5 foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 6'10".
So your equipment hasn't been brought in with you. The guys who had your stuff, they broke away roughly at the same time as the guys took Max and Robert away. So you're still wearing your armor for the time being, just to specify that, but your other equipment, for all intents and purposes, is unavailable to you at present.
Joke's on you, I don't have any armor. Haha.
You also don't have your axe.
True.
Anyway, so you guys are brought to before this lady, and she just puts her arms behind her back. She faces you and kind of looks down her nose at you and just goes, "Well, well, well. It seems that we have some interlopers. You caused a lot of trouble out at the front, and I'd like you now to tell me why. You, take this one's gag off," motioning to Arthur. And one of the cultists pulls Arthur's gag off, and she just goes, "You seem to be the most reasonable one here. I'd like you to tell me what's going on."
We came in through the pass following the instructions we were given.
Oh,
We had this one, a gesture towards Zark, as a prisoner. We paid the toll when we came through, but we got accosted by a group as we were coming in.
okay. Oh, deception for me.
Come on. It's pretty bad, isn't it?
Okay, on a 12, she's going to look to you. She's going to look towards Zark. And she's just going to give him a look up and down, and she, quite like the Dragon Claw before you, she goes, he seems like a rather impressive specimen. Tell me, how did you take him down exactly?
We were hiding in the mines during the raid. We got trapped in there. Afterwards, during the celebrations, we saw him drinking by himself by a tree. He passed out drunk, so we tied him up. It took all of us just to wrestle him around to get him to move, but we eventually managed to get him here. While we're a little bit late.
It did seem odd that you didn't come in with the rearguard. However, I saw the commotion you caused. If you were truly innocent, why have you killed so many of my men?
When it's either kill or be killed, what other choice did I exactly have? Your men came at me with blades ready.
Well, I think...
You didn't believe me either, frankly.
Well, to be honest with you, there's quite a lot of reason to be tense. I had a report from one of my scouts this morning. It would appear that one of our operations has been disrupted near Greenest. A mill producing maps to bring our cores here was destroyed. And quite curiously, all of the men that were found there were stripped naked. And you appear after the rearguard in regalia. Now, I could write this off as mere coincidence, but your timely arrival makes me rather suspicious. I hope you won't be offended if I get a second opinion. With that, she turns towards the back of the tent, and she just goes, "You, come in here. Show me that you've earned that promotion." With that, a 8-foot lizard steps into the tent, wearing purple robes, and he locks eyes with you, Arthur, and just says, "Hello, Greymane."
I didn't expect to see you here so soon.
False.
Oh, you know this one, Rama? Quite impressive bunch, these. They were the ones who disrupted the convoy back at Greenest, Lady Mondath. As well as this, he, pointing to Zack, is the one who defeated Rama. Oh, sorry. I meant Langdrosa. Oh, great.
Didn't you do that before as well?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Maybe that could be his.
It's-
Maybe that
it's a
could be his
character
quirk.
quirk now.
Yeah, it's a character quirk. He just forgets his own name. It's great. So, with that, Mondath looks towards Zack, and she before was quite. She was getting agitated, but she goes from being rather stoic to her face going blood red, and she just goes up to you and just says, "Do you have any idea what you cost us at Greenest? That fool, Langdrosa, got into a deathmatch with you and called our retreat early. Do you
I'm
have...
like smiling under my gag.
I was to join Lady Resmere and the Red Wizard on their journey up north, but your little show just expedited their departure, and now I'm stuck here in this mud heap with all of you.
Just unflinching, still smiling under my gag.
Not that it would have made a difference with the disappearances recently. The botch retreat, and... How did you... Actually, now it makes all sense. If you were in Greenest, and you truly were the ones who defeated Rama... Sorry, I mean Langdrosa. I keep doing it! Sorry. Maybe that's something, maybe just no one... They just get mixed up because they're so similar. So... Yeah, sorry. So... She just goes... Well, it would stand to reason that you have a grudge against us. And you were in the perfect place at the right time in order to disrupt our operations. You know, your arrival here has come at a rather opportune moment. Morale in the camp is low. And dispatching you, along with the other one, who you still have yet to get answers out of, Rama, may lift their spirits a bit. Take them to the South Cave for now. I want them to stew in their failure. And Rama, I need you in the hatchery. Why, my lady? I was making such good progress with our guest. Well, your methods, though crude, have they've gained some traction with the interrogation, but I feel that he just needs a little bit of time to soften up a bit, and then I'll try my womanly wiles, see if that kind of leverages a response out of him. I'm tired of seeing these. Well, I suppose we're to move on in a couple of days anyway. If you had actually not come here rather than disrupting the mill, you might have had a chance to reclaim some of the riches that were lost. But unfortunately for you, Lady Resmere and the Red Wizard are long gone. So now all that's left is to tie up loose ends here. My lady, if I might make an observation. Yes, Lizard, what is it? As I recall, there was another one, a woman. Oh? And where might your friend be? Did you have a falling out? Once again, talking to Arthur.
One way of putting it, she decided to stay back and help to heal the wounded.
Well, you've proven to be rather dishonest so far, so I would assume that is but another lie. You two, go to the perimeter of the camp and have a look-see around. See if she is healing the wounded, as this one suggests, or whether she is just hanging on the fringes, waiting to strike once more. Two cultists bow, and they leave the tent, presumably to go look for Gwen, but obviously you have no notion of where they went out after they leave your view, so... Yep, so at this point, Mondav is just going to have a couple of guys have you stood up, and you're going to be marched away to the southern cave. As you leave, Arthur, Rama kind of just says something briefly to you. Kind of almost whispers it, as if he doesn't really want Mondav to hear this, but he wants to let you know something. And just says, "Done a great service for the Queen, Arthur Greymane. I'll be seeing you soon." And with that, he leaves. Okay. So you guys are being marched out. So we're going to go back to Gwen's perspective now for a little bit. So Gwen, over the past, I'm going to say maybe probably about 10-20 minutes, you were led back into the pass and back to the area where you guys were sort of like stopped for the toll. And like the ridges that those kobolds were standing up on, there were kind of steps at the end of them, and you go up those and you go into a cave on the left. So unless you do otherwise, this orc is just going to lead you through a series of winding tunnels until eventually you come to a rather spacious cavern. I'd say that it smells very musty in here, rather dimly lit, but not so much that you can't see, but you're kind of straining your eyes a little bit to kind of like focus on objects in the space. And after, I'd probably say, another 2 minutes of walking, you're brought before a rather large collection of orcs, with two sat in the centre of the room, one of which you actually recognise as the Grey Orc that you met a little bit earlier on, and another orc sat at their side. So, as you enter the room, the orc who escorted you just simply says, "Liar, Grumsh, I brought you this one. You want speak, yes?" With that, the Grey Orc raises their hand and just goes, "You've done a great service, young one. Now leave us." And with that, the young orc walks away. And the Grey Orc now turns to you, Gwen, and they say, "I feel we got off on the wrong foot earlier. My name is Laya. Clan Chiefess Laya." And then she motions to her right and just says, "And this is my husband, Clan Chief Grumsh." Quite a show you put on outside of the Dragon Court's camp.
Yes, Matt.
We've seen everything since we left you. You colored me surprised when you didn't immediately try to attack us. None but the cult have passed through this pass for the last couple of weeks, and I thought at first you might be latecomers, wanted to try our luck and reclaim something that they took from us over these past 2 weeks.
No, I'm not with the cult. I know I'm wearing the dress now, but
Judging by the screams and
I earned it with blood.
Yes, Yes, you can
Yes.
say that again.
I'm-
As
I'm not proud to wear it.
as she says that, the guy on the right just goes, "Yeah, you showed them what for. Those puny dragon cultists finally got what was coming to them." Yes, Grumsh, darling. Ah, please, sometimes you do need to use your inside voice around guests. But I didn't bring you here merely to congratulate you. I brought you here because I see an opportunity. And considering how the young one found you, I would say that it would be in both of our best interests for you to listen.
I'm willing to listen. What you saw out at the camp was the good part. Inside, it was not so pretty. I fear my friends are in danger inside.
I know what it's like inside. A few of ours are in there. Perhaps an explanation is in order. This is our land, and has been our land for the last few centuries. But a couple of weeks ago, the cult of the dragon descended upon our pass. Didn't really give us much choice in the matter. Though we are mighty, they are numerous. They stormed in here and they have protection of, well, shall we say, a higher authority than we would rather get into a conflict with right now. As she says this, you actually turn your head and you see the two kobolds from earlier. Although these kobolds look a little bit different from the ones that you encountered in Greenest. Although physically they appear to be the same, they seem to be wearing red war paint. And they seem to just kind of snarl at the mention of a higher power as if it's something that personally offends them. She kind of just Lyra looks towards them and just kind of gives a glance as to say you're being discourteous, and they quiet down. So she continues. Sorry, go on.
Did they bring the dragon here too?
No. What dragon are you speaking of?
A blue dragon. When my friends and I, we were with a caravan, and we were just guarding it to Greenest. You know, just on the road, nothing special. But then when we came to Greenest, there was a blue dragon circling the town. The town was being attacked by the cult. We did what we could to help, and well, that's how we aren't these close. And I'm like making a disgusted face and moving.
Her face doesn't really
Pulling
seem
on the
to
rope.
have changed. Like when these emotive gestures, you can tell that she's to a degree sympathetic, but her face is kind of fixed that she's very business, but she's listening to what you're saying intently. Do you have anything else to say to her before she continues?
That dragon. I'm not sure what it did, but the town's guard, they were like frozen. They couldn't act.
That is rather
was
common
wondering
amongst their kind. But
Did
no,
something like that? Oh,
no.
I'm glad at least that didn't happen to you.
We are not dealing with a blue dragon here. Did you not see their kobolds?
I have to admit, I'm sorry, I have to admit they were so like mice running around and running all over each other.
You don't.
It was hard to see anything specific, and I have to say it was hard to see them act as ones. As they were all as one, no individual.
Understandable considering your circumstances, but no. The higher power to which I am referring to is that of a black dragon. I do not know his name, but our patron, Rath Morden, is not happy. And she kind of looks towards the two kobolds wearing red war paint as she says this. These two are his representative. This is his land, as much as it
As
is
she
ours.
As she says the representative part, I'll give a half bow towards them.
The kobolds kind of like look towards
Like a head
you.
nod.
Yeah.
Just showing respect.
Yeah. I mean, they're not really taking you on, but I think Lyra kind of like looks towards you as you do that and just goes, please, no need to be so formal. They haven't shown us any kind of respect, but we work together, but when the code came in, we had no other choice but to send some of our numbers into the camp. We know the caves, and so they needed our help to set up shop here. And we were hoping that they would move on soon. But then, some of our own started disappearing. They just didn't come back one day. And that's when we decided we'd had enough. That is why we attacked you. We wanted something back. This partnership, if it can even be called that, is little more than a knock. She's struggling to get her words out, and her husband just goes, "They're on our land, and they need to be cleared out as soon as possible. I wanted to go and hit them with a big stick, but Lyra disapproved." Yes, as much as you mean well, darling, I don't really think that the full frontal option is viable, but we have a common enemy.
It does sound like a tempting option. I turn to Grooch to say this. It sounds tempting, but
We have
your lady wife has maybe another plan.
Rums just wants to hit people with stick. Lyra's the thinky one.
I'll give Lyra a smell of commiseration. I mouse the word.
Yes, my darling is rather forthright, but on the battlefield there is no one I would rather have at my side. But it's why we rule
I
this.
believe that.
We rule this clan as a pair. He is the brawn, and well, in some cases, the brain. But I am more the diplomat. I want us to have our land, and I want us to be dominant here. But I also don't want to die. I'm sure that if you've spent any length of time in any community, you understand this delicate balance that we have to strike.
I do. Though most of my time has been in the wild, I have been around people.
But
I
anyway,
balance.
I've wasted enough of your time with this preamble. She motions to one of the orcs as she says this, and they throw a bag on the ground in front of you. And as the bag hits the floor, coins spill out. And she says, "That's what we took from you earlier. I can only offer you my apologies for the misunderstanding, but I hope that you'll take this as a gesture of goodwill and hear what I have to say next."
If you have any plan to go against the cult, you have my attention. Not picking up the gold, leaving it on the ground for now.
Okay, so she just continues. The cult acquired a rather interesting prisoner a few weeks ago, around the time they set up here. Quite
Scholar?
Catch on quickly, but how could you know that?
We had a man who was traveling with a scholar. He was found near Greenest. They had visited Greenest, and then he was traveling on. A scholar of dragons, we were told.
That explains quite a lot, actually.
We sadly we only found the companion. And yes.
They seem to be rather concerned about him. The Cult of the Dragon takes many prisoners, but very few live as long as he does. My scouts have been in the camp for the past few weeks, and they've had some rather interesting conversations with him. When the others haven't been looking. He seems to be rather interested in dismantling the cult from the inside. He's spirited, strong-willed. I respect that. We were going to try and stage an attempt soon to free him. Me and my husband were weighing up the risks of this endeavor. But now we have more help on the inside. Maybe you could help make this less perilous for my people, whilst getting what you want also.
I do feel, well, our goals in long might not be the same. In this, we have the same wishes.
Rumsh, do you have the... You have the sigil still? Grumsh takes a few minutes, kind of pats himself to go, I have it somewhere. Ah, yes! He kind of pulls it out of a side pocket, and he proudly holds it towards Lyra, who just gingerly takes it out of his hands and just goes, thank you, darling. Take this. She offers you a small metallic object, Gwen. Do you take it from her?
I hold my hand so she can drop it in my hand. Or my hands.
Okay,
holding towards it, but seeing if she drops it towards me or... Like, yeah, holding my hand underneath it.
Yeah, she motions you to approach her and she drops it into your hands. I'd say.
Alright,
Okay.
I'm looking at it.
Okay, so she explains to you, this is a sigil of our clan. Present that to the Orc guards inside. They were guarding the scholar last that I knew of. It would stand to reason that they are still there. You present that, they'll trust you. And they'll hopefully be able to get you back out safely. These caves are
I'm honored
perilous.
by your trust. And I'll... Is it on a chain?
Yeah, it is, so you can put it around your neck
In
if
that
you
case,
wish.
yes, I'm putting it around my neck.
Okay.
I'm honored by your trust, and I'm putting it around my neck.
Okay. So, Lai continues to say, I wouldn't... This path to the side of me leads back into the camp. We'd be able to get by the defences and hopefully be able to save your friends. However, I can't advise that you go before nightfall. The creatures in these caves are rather active during the daytime hours. If you wait, I can have some of my men escort you to an entrance where you'll be able to access your friends. You can try and go it alone before, but I can't guarantee your safety.
This will be a strange question.
Mhm.
I know, but please humor me. I'm talking to her,
Yeah, fair enough, sorry.
not the DM. Sorry. What kind of small animals are in these caves? Are there any animals, small animals, that there are a lot of? Something no one will pay mind to.
Animals, no, not animals so much. Goblins, mostly. There was actually a few of ours patrolling the caves. They may have attacked you had you gone there unannounced. They are still quite defensive. There's also a creature who lulls in unsuspecting prey by disguising itself as a leather cloak. You would be rather best to avoid that one.
Yes, that does sound pleasant.
as I say,
I do believe it's best for me to go with your man towards the nightfall.
very good.
Side note to the DM, around what time is it?
I would
Is
say
it past midday?
it's past midday now. So I think she's basically asking you to wait till about 6 to 8 hours.
So a long rest.
If she wants to, actually, yes. It's a period of inactivity, so it's characterized as such. Okay, so I'm going to say at this point we're going to switch back to, unless you've got anything else you want to do, Gwen, before I switch back to the others.
Just confirming her plan.
Yeah,
To
so
go towards nightfall and asking for
yes.
a place where I might have a little rest to be prepared for a busy night.
Okay, so she will motion towards a nearby campfire. Well, it's not. Yeah, I suppose it's kind of an open enough space where it'll be ventilated for the smoke. So yeah, she'll motion you towards a fire. Some orcs are sat around it, eating scraps of meat. As you go down to sit alongside them, if that's what you choose to do, they'll offer you something to eat.
I will sit with them. Or a little to the side, not directly next to any one of them, but in that area.
Yeah. As you do this, you just hear Lyre and Grunch just arguing with each other, and you just hear the guy goes, "I don't understand why we have to wait. We could go now and reclaim our lost glory." Yes, but you've got to consider if we don't get there alive, it'll be all for nothing, darling. Your plan is stupid. Sucks. Anyway,
Are
with
they
that,
having this conversation in common?
they are actually. They
I'm
want.
doing my very best not to laugh.
Yeah,
Like, I'm trying to hold in a chuckle right now.
fair enough. So with that,
Well, Gwen is trying to hold it.
Yeah.
I'm not.
fair enough. So in that case, we switch back to the others. So unfortunately, I don't have that command, Zach. Sorry.
Damn it, wrong stream.
So anyway, we go back. So you guys are being escorted to. In fact, sorry, I'll probably just. I should probably show you which cave. I've not really moved the screen. So you've been taken to this cave down here. So you see another one of these veterans on one of these armored guard drakes kind of snarl at you as you come past, and you're taken into the cave, and upon going in there, you see what appears to be a half-elf. He's been quite battered and bruised. He doesn't really seem to be looking at you guys at the moment. He's kind of just looking at the ground, and you see two orcs standing near him, just seeming to be discussing something. You're not really sure what. They're actually talking in Orcish, strangely, all three of them.
I will be able to understand it then.
Okay.
I'll talk well.
Okay, in that case, Zark, you actually hear the orcs saying to this guy, "You need to start talking soon. They keep hurting you." The half elf just simply says, "It's not time yet. We need to be sure that everything is going to go as planned. Can't really risk talking. We don't know who may be listening to us. And, well, I don't suppose there's been many so far who can understand us. But you never know. His ears might perk up." And with that, he kind of looks towards you guys being brought in. And he's kind of like tied to a post. You guys are brought in. And the cultists who have been escorting you tie you up in similar fashion. So you're kind of at this guy's side. As you finish being tied up in this position, the two orcs kind of, they don't leave, they kind of go to stand outside, and they just say to the two guys out here in common, they say, "It's our shift now. You go rest." And with that, this seems to be normal routine. There's no protest, so these two guys move away, and the orcs take station outside.
About how far away from us are they?
I'd say that this guy goes to the tent here. This guy's probably with him, so I'd say this map's to scale, so about 30 feet away.
Alright, then once I'm tied up, I'd like to given they moved away, I'd like to immediately test my bonds. See how tightly they are.
Tell you what, roll strength. They're tight enough to keep you bound. You know that much.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it by manacle or rope?
By what, say?
Is it manacle or rope?
I'm going to say manacle. I don't think they're going to take any chances,
Okey-dokey.
considering the display you put on. I think the fact that you didn't surrender the first time you were asked probably caused them to make that decision. At least that's what you could probably suggest, considering that this guy who you're with is actually bound by rope.
Mhm.
So,
And is it bound so that our arms are above us or behind us to these posts?
above.
Okey-dokey.
You know that scene in Attack of the Clones when they're all chained up before the beasts attack them? Is it like that?
Yeah, it's that kind of position.
Okay.
You kind of, your feet are bound and your hands are bound, so you kind of stood on the ground, but you can't really move your feet at all, nor can you really move your hands.
Okey-dokey.
Okay, so as you go in, the half elf doesn't really address you at first. Do you say anything to him?
What could I immediately glean from looking over him?
What are you
How
trying
badly
to
beaten is him? Is he?
Are we still
Um,
gagged?
make a perception check to see how. Actually, maybe medicine, considering you're trying to do his injuries. Or to see how badly he's injured.
Same difference, really.
Okay, yeah. 18. Okay, so you look over him and you can tell that he isn't really badly hurt. It looks bad, but it's mostly superficial. You can tell that this guy, just from the way you can't really say that he's holding himself in a natural position because he's kind of in a stress position, tied upright, but you can tell that he's in discomfort, but he doesn't really seem to. If he's in pain, he's doing a very good job of hiding it.
Are we still gagged?
I'm just trying to think. I'd say
Never
that.
specified that it was.
No, I didn't specify that you had your gags moved, but Arthur, I never specified that you were re-gagged. I'm going to say that. I'm actually going to say, just for the sake of answer things, that you were. I think everyone apart from Delaman is ungagged because they saw him casting spells.
Ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom.
Because of the fog cloud, that was probably the most conspicuous tell that he was a spellcaster. So yeah, everyone other than Delaman, is ungagged now. So, do you guys say anything to him, or are you just waiting for him to say something to you first?
I'm just staring up at my manacles, debating if I can break out of them or not.
Okay, if he sees you doing that, he'll actually look over to you, and he looks you up and down, and he just says in Orcish to you, "I wouldn't try that if I were you. I've seen a few people try, and they had their hands lobbed off. I wouldn't want you to meet the same fate, so I would stop that if I were you."
Kind of look back and forth between Zark and him.
I just turn to look at him. It's like, not many speak Orc.
Not many want to learn of other cultures these days. I am a scholar. I wish to learn much about the world and, well, quite specifically about these nincompoops here. Oh, sorry. Where are my manners? I should probably... He switches to common at this point, kind of addressing the rest of you. Ah, my friends, my name is Leosin Alanfar. Pleased to make your acquaintance. I wish it was under slightly more harmonious circumstances, however.
Off a Greymane.
And how about you, Stubby? What's your name? Oh, sorry, you're gagged. So tell me what his name is.
It's Dellerman.
Ah, and the one on the end. Motioning to Blaine.
I'm Blaine.
He actually perks up at the mention of your name, Blaine. Blaine? You don't happen to be Blaine Skybreaker, do you?
Yes, I am.
Oh, God, sir! Onfar's told me so much about you, his famous little protege. Oh, how on earth did you come to be here?
I'm helping.
Actually, now I think about it, that does make sense. Nessun did mention that Onfar had sent somebody to come and fetch us. Oh, well, I suppose in a manner of speaking, you've accomplished your mission. Congratulations. But probably not the way that you would have hoped.
No, not really, no.
So, I suppose that answers the question of why you're here, but I would rather... this makes things awkward. Doesn't really... he kind of trails off at the end of that sentence as if he doesn't really want to say more in front of the others.
As this conversation's been going on, Sark's just dropped his head. I'd like to use magical awareness.
Okay. What are you trying to detect exactly? Because it's basically like detect magic, isn't it? Magical awareness.
Pretty much.
So, are you trying to sense if anything about this guy is magical, or like what specifically are you trying to find out here?
If there's any magic on the shackles, if there's any in the cells, just anything that's around us.
No, nothing magical around you. Everything, although the bonds are tight and well, like the manacles are difficult to break out of, nothing about them is magical. There's nothing magical particularly about this fellow you're talking to, either, or anything really within the immediate radius that would strike you as being odd.
Okay then.
Just above the table, we were sent to find this guy, weren't we?
Yes, you were.
In a few weeks, sorry.
No, it's fine. So, yeah, this is Leosin Elmvar, so this is the guy that Nessun wanted you to find. So congratulations, Blaine, you accomplished your mission, yay. But yeah, so this is definitely the guy that you are looking for.
It's a good thing we actually found you. We were actually sent here to come and rescue you.
Nessun always jumps the gun. I was fine here. I'd actually
look him up and down at that.
Yes, I understand that this probably isn't my best luck, but... Sorry, been a long day. Sorry, that was me actually coughing. Sorry. So, yeah, he's just going to say, I was on the verge of actually finding out what they're doing here. Does Nessun not remember the fact that we've been investigating these guys for months? We can't. This was my best opportunity to actually learn something of value. I've already learned so much already. In fact, what do you actually know about the Court of the Dragon? Just intellectual curiosity at this point.
Very little, frankly.
They barred.
He
raided a town called Greenhurst, and...
Yes, I know, I was there. I got knocked bloody unconscious. I'm aware that they were at Greenhurst. Frankly, they were most likely after me.
Not all the riches they carted off. Or the other people they tried to cart off?
They wanted to get Greenest Shore for its undefended affluence, but they most definitely wanted me off the table also. Quite a
Any
few.
reason?
I've been investigating them along with Nessim. It's why Blaine was sent to fetch us. Anfar hadn't heard from us in a while. He deliberately wanted to stay quiet because, well, we had a few run-ins with some of the robed ones out there. We thought it better to not really send too many communications. Things were getting intercepted and, well, it didn't really do us much good in the end. I can share what I know of the cult, I suppose. There's a little more to do at the moment than to just simply pass the time and wait for Bolcut's judgment out there.
Every little helps. Knowledge is never a bad thing in the right hands.
Well, she may have already told you, the one who is in the tent, Bolcut, the one who likes to hear the sound of her own voice, may have already have told you that they're moving up north soon. This camp isn't a permanent fixture, but they're staying a lot longer than I personally thought they would do. They moved their wealth a few days ago. Or rather, they started moving it in the last 2 days. Something spooked them a couple of days back. I couldn't really hear exactly as to what, but they seemed to believe that their position had become compromised and were quite eager to move away from here.
That may have been us.
Raises an eyebrow. Oh, do explain.
He raided a mill they were using to distribute some pamphlets, basically.
Oh, could they have been any more conspicuous, setting up a mill in the town that they just attacked? Oh, you know, if I just didn't happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, I don't think these people could find their own shoelaces, much less anyone that they're actually looking for. But, unfortunately, it seems that they've outwitted us both.
For now.
They also seem to be rather upset about something. Someone important was injured. A half-dragon, I
Is that-
think.
Dog do that. I say, like, attempting to wave them, realizing my hands are bound. Something.
Yes, once again, I require further context. What happened exactly?
Dog hit Dragon Man good.
You hit
They
him.
had a one-on-one duel, Greenhurst, and
I have
he did
hit.
a rather good job.
You might have hit him harder than you thought. Last I heard, he was dying.
We all dying.
No, specifically from his injuries.
Oh.
He also was stripped of his rank. Bolcut wasn't too happy with how things turned out, losing some muscle and, from what I understand, quite a few of their riches. Apparently they were supposed to retreat about 2 hours after they actually did. A lot of the goods that they secured were lost, or at least a big enough portion for the mission to only be considered a partial success. I take it all of that was you then. Job.
I don't suppose you have a way to get out of here?
Can I trust you to keep this close to your chest? King Arthur?
Naturally.
I want you to roll persuasion on that, Arthur. Just to see how much this guy trusts you with this information. Bearing in mind he doesn't know that Zach can understand. Well, they heard that conversation earlier. That's what you
Fuck
needed.
yeah.
That's exactly what you needed. Just goes, Alright, I don't suppose there's any harm in sharing this with you. I mean, I suppose we're all brothers in chains, or whatever old adage you want to apply to the situation. I've been talking with the orcs. They're about as happy with the cult's presence here as we are. And, well, they're going to stage a rescue attempt in the rather near future. They've been interrogating me for the past few days and, well, they haven't liked what I've had to say, or very little. Hint of advice: if you're interrogated, just stay quiet. Make them believe that they're breaking you. They like to lord their power over the weak. If we get out of this jam alive, I would like you to meet me. Meet me back in Greenest. I might have a job for you. I represent an order known as the Harpers. I think people like you would fit in very well. Well compensated, and you would be doing the world a great favour in eliminating pests like these.
So
Say,
I'm no good with music.
It's a group, so okay. It's okay.
actually, I suppose I could help do one thing for you. Leosin at this point speaks up and he says something in Orcish and tells the guard, like, basically, Zach, you understand him to say, "Come in here, I have a favour to ask of you."
Okay.
So the guard...
I
Sorry.
can understand it too.
Oh, can you understand Orcish? Fair enough. Okay, so yeah, you both understand that. So comes in and he then says in Orcish, "Take the gag of that one over there." And the Orc guards look a little bit annoyed at this, and he just says, "It's okay. These can be trusted." And with that, the Orc guards step behind you, Delman, and they take your gag off.
Oh. Thank you. Oh.
Well, I suppose it's only fitting that we all get to have a nice chat and get to know each other. Seems like we may be friends for a long time. Well, of course, if we don't die in the next few hours, that is.
I just sort of smile at that, and I start to sort of fiddle with the chain, or the manacles a little bit.
Okay.
Just moving them around, just seeing if I can get a hand out at all. I know I probably can't, but I'm just kind of doing it subconsciously.
Yeah, you're kind of doing it subconsciously, but yeah, considering the strength check earlier, I don't think you're going to be able to really do anything to jostle yourself free or weaken them, but yeah, I understand that's probably what you're doing subconsciously. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to say that time moves on for a few hours. Incidentally, I will be ending the session quite soon if you guys need to get going.
Happy for another 2 hours. Fuck sleep.
Yeah, am I okay to go for about another 10 minutes, quarter of an hour? Do you guys need to head off? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay with me.
Yeah, okay, I won't keep you any longer than I need to. I just want to get this to a good ending point. Okay, so a few hours pass, and I'd say at this point it's getting to early evening. And around this time, the orcs move away from the door, and the veteran and guard Drake from earlier return. And in tow, they have a few cultists with them. The cultists come and they untie, they don't undo your manacles, but they kind of like take you off the posts that you're on, and Leosin included. So, you guys are going to be brought out into the camp once again, and you can see that in the time that you guys have been inside, that a platform seems to have been constructed quite cruelly. There is like some sort of cross kind of towards the end platform, and Leosin is affixed to it. Whilst you guys are brought up onto this platform. Your hands are tied behind. Your hands are placed behind your back, and as you stand on the platform, you notice that the floor beneath you looks like it could give way, and then nooses are placed around your neck. So, as soon as this is done, this Mondaf steps out from the tent, and she looks towards all of you, and then looks towards Leosin, and just gives off a smirk, just kind of reveling in her personal victory. And let me just go to here. Okay, so as she steps out, the other cultists sit up and take notice, and a bunch of them gather around to hear her words. And as they see you guys secured, they start to cheer because they can tell that they know probably what's going to happen here. And as they start cheering, she kind of just raises her hands and just kind of like motions them down as to say, quiet down, and she just goes, "My dear subordinates, we have had some setbacks and challenges over the past few days, but I invite you to look upon our guest here," motioning to Leosin. 2 days ago, he yelled out in defiance. Yesterday, he grunted in disapproval. Today, he is silent and listless. Soon, we will not only know what this man knows, but also who he is working for and how to find them. And then someone from the crowd just shouts, "But what about the missing Lady Mondaf? Have you had any news of them? Surely this bookworm could not be behind that." Mondaf scowls and clears a throat as if the comment caught her slightly off guard, and just says, "As I have told you all yesterday, the matter is closed, and all who have been lost are assumed dead. Their sacrifice for the Great Horde will be remembered, but any further efforts to find them will impede our goals and grander purpose. I also present to you the fools who disturbed our efforts during the raid, these Guardians of Greenest, who bested Langdrosa and botched our retreat. They were of no challenge once we brought our full might to bear against them. And like all of the rest, they have submitted, as the world will soon submit before the might of the Horde." And with that, they all sort of just start clapping, and the concerns of missing people are just completely forgotten, apparently. So then she just continues, "Rest assured, my people, we only need to wait a couple more days, and our wealth may be already away. But soon we too shall travel north too," and as she kind of goes to get another grand crescendo in her speech, another veteran comes over to her and she just stops speaking. In fact, it looks like that she's just been told something very, very troubling. And for a moment, she clenches her fists, and then she clears her throat once again, and the crowd kind of notice this really sudden shift in her demeanor. But she manages to recompose herself, and she just goes, talking to you guys. "In the next few hours, this one here will pull the lever, and you will all hang like the filthy brigands you are. I'm just sad that I won't get to see it. It would appear that there's another matter that requires my immediate attention. But you will not live long enough to be concerned about that. Take me inside. I want to see this myself." And with that, Mondaf and the veteran leave, going towards the same cave that Max and Robert were taken earlier. So the crowd just starts to get a little bit more rowdy. And over the next hour, they dissipate. I would say at this time it's about 7 o'clock at night. And you can see that the closest to Azure kind of left by the switch to release the platform is just kind of looking at a watch. You don't exactly know when you're due to be executed, but you can tell that it's probably going to be quite soon. And Leosin at this point just says to you all, "Oh, I wouldn't worry too much. I wasn't really expecting her to make a show like that. You must have really have left an impression upon her. I'm sure that our friends will get the message and they'll send help soon." Okay. What do you guys do? Are you just going to say anything to him? Are you going to try anything, understanding the severity of your situation now?
I think Zark would have fallen asleep during that speech.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So, I would say that at this point, we're going to switch back to Gwen's perspective for just a minute.
I
So,
do have one question.
sorry, Gwen.
Delaman's noose. Is it all the way down to the ground, or is he on top of a stool?
He's on top of a stool, let's just say that. This was to be as demeaning as humanly possible, so yes, he was on a stool. So, okay. So we're going to switch back to Gwen's perspective. So, Gwen, you've been waiting for the past few hours.
Well, waiting, resting. maybe
Waiting and rest-
dozing.
Yeah. So, like, I would say that you've had a long rest, if you had any spell slots to reclaim. Just to clarify, you guys, considering your situation, being in captivity and being held in stress positions, I would say that you haven't had a long rest. Just to
Say we've had a short rest.
I'm going to give you short rest. I'll give you short rest, but I'm not going to give you. I'm basically saying that you haven't regained spell slots. That does require
I get
specific.
anything from that.
You guys didn't really take any damage from the fight, so I'm not even sure how much a short rest would benefit you. But sorry, I just need to
For
drink.
me, it's wild shape, but
Yeah, so you would gain something from it if you used
no,
Lash.
I hadn't used it.
Okay, so
But
You-
I'm rested now anyway.
So you're preparing to get up and leave, but as you stand up to be escorted, you start to see two orcs bounding towards you, or bounding more towards the others, and I would say that, like, just in terms of the timeline, this is occurring probably maybe about half an hour before Mondath gave that speech. So they're kind of getting there at this time, and they're going to say to Lion, which kind of being quite visibly out of breath, and just goes, Lion, they're making a move. They're going to execute Smart Guy. We need to do something. Laia kind of scratches her chin for a moment and sort of grumbles, just goes, I told you we needed to go and hit them with a big stick! This wouldn't have happened if people didn't listen to me! Huh. Just because you were right this time doesn't mean you're right every time. We've talked about this. Well, unfortunately, this does change the plan somewhat. I need you two to go back to the camp. I need you to... Gwen, I think I have another job for you. You're to come
Time
with...
to go?
You're to come with me. These two... Go back there and wait for our signal. Understood? Yes, Slayer, we'll go immediately. And with that, the orcs go off. So, Gwen, you spend probably the next half an hour going back through the caves with Laia, but when you actually get out of the caves, you don't come out into the camp as you would expect. You're actually now positioned on one of the ridges above the camp. So you're actually looking down on the camp with Lyre. And as you get there, you start to notice that you start to see kobolds gathering around the corners of the ridge. And from your perspective,
Can I see if they have paint? If they have war paint?
if they're war paint, roll perception considering that they're kind of like... Actually, no, I'd say that the ones at least next to you have red war paint on, like the others that you saw earlier. So I would say that at the time that Leosin is kind of like telling you guys to calm down, the two orcs from earlier who just spoke to Talia get to you guys, and they're just kind of like stood there at the side of you. And one of them just holds up a knife. What do you guys do? The ones who are kind of captured, seeing this?
I mean, we're about to be hanged, so we can't do anything.
They kind of stood in front of you. At least the one holding the knife is stood in front of you. Kind of like, it's a bit odd if he's trying to be inconspicuous, but you just kind of see him doing that. And Leosin himself looks confused and just goes, "Oh, no, this was not the plan."
What do you mean it wasn't the plan?
You weren't supposed to be here. They're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. He actually...
Do what?
He's kind of panicking a little bit at this because... So, as the glint of the knife is held there, one of the veterans just looks towards this orc, puts his hand on his longsword and just goes, "What are you doing over there?" And the orc just stands there holding the knife up, not making eye contact and not acknowledging this guy. He asks again, "What are you," drawing his longsword now, "doing there?" And then you just hear the orc just say something under his breath in Orcish. I'd say, unfortunately, it's too far away, Zark and Blaine, for you to hear exactly what he said, but you can just kind of hear sound. And he starts to approach this orc, picking up speed, pulling his long sword back, and as his sword is about to hit this orc's neck, you guys just see lights just appearing on the ridge, all around you, in the darkness, just myriad red lights. And just as the veteran is about to swing his sword, 3 crossbow bolts pierce his neck, and he falls down, dead. And you, at this moment, I would say, look up. You guys who are captured, and you just see Gwen stood alongside the grey orc that you encountered earlier that day, and a bigger orc wielding a warhammer, who just yells, "Start the attack!" And that's where we'll end the session for tonight.
Another hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I'd like to rage and try and break out my binds.
Also, I'm disappointed it wasn't just a big stick.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of is.
Well, I'm carrying the big stick, so
Yeah.
don't get ideas.
Bag. So we get to wiggle.
Yes. So hopefully that was worth the 2-week wait.
Yeah.
Was it only 2 weeks?
It was
So
2 weeks,
6
14
10
days
games
exactly since the last stream.
I thought it was 3 weeks or so.
It might be. I don't know. I'm just going off. It said 14 days ago for the last stream, so.
Oh yeah, but that was the one shot.
Oh, actually, no.
Yeah.
Actually, did we have a one shot after the last session? I thought they were all. I thought they were
No,
called
we,
off.
We didn't.
There
Because
was
I'm
one
pretty
way
sure.
out-
Because I'm pretty sure I watched a few seconds of the stream and it was the last session, as in the
We might
main
have been
session.
quite close
Mhm.
together because I think we put it in a midweek day for the one shot, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
we-
that might
right,
have been it.
the one shot was midweek.
But anyway, this is probably talk for off stream. So, okay, I'm going to end it there. So, guys, for anyone watching, I hope you all enjoyed, and we shall speak to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.